Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can all hear me. Bonsoir to my French-speaking brothers on the call. I want to be sure I'm being heard.
Loud and clear.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. I want to welcome you to this Link and Learn call. I'll be focusing on total market approach for condom, and then we're looking at Nigeria experience. We might not have time to ask every one of us to introduce ourselves on the call, but please do take advantage of our chat box and please put down your name, your designation, where you're coming from. We'll be happy to know you're part of this call. And then also please, as the presentation goes on, please take time to scribble down your questions, your comments, because at the end of the presentation, we'll be having a lot of good time to take questions, to take your comments, so on and so forth. So please take note of that and put them down. You're welcome. Can we have the next slide? All right, this is to give us the agenda of our meeting today. I'll be calling shortly my director, Mrs. My boss. He'll be welcoming us. After which I will take the overview, and then Shegun, Dr. David Olusegun Oyedeji. His name is, we made it a bit shorter, but his full name is Dr. Shegun Olusegun Oyedeji will be coming up, and then he'll be looking at item number 3, promising practice presentation and the noun. And then we'll open up to discussion. That discussion, you have opportunity to ask all your questions. Can you move it up a little? Is that the last item? Move it up a little. I don't know if you can, so that we'll see the 5th, let them see the 5th item. But that is how we wish to progress today. There's another one for the 5th one. Yeah, the experience sharing, other country will also share what they've been doing and their feedback and learning. That is the 5th one, but it's not shown on the screen. All right, so with that, let's go to the next slide, and I invite my director, Mr. Alex Ogundipe, to give us the opening and then welcome remarks. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
So, good afternoon, all, and it's my pleasure to welcome everyone to this Link and Learn event. And as a champion, particularly with the condoms, it's my pleasure. And I think our other colleagues can learn a lot from the Nigerian experience. Myself, I've been a part of the condom story from beginning, right from the days of our schools when condoms were privately brought in by the private sector. So when it was taken over by government, and when the donor community came in, when the HIV blew up, and the market was flooded by development partners. And this shut down every private sector participation, but wasn't the most efficient, and how it traveled through to the point that social marketing made condom distribution very efficient. But again, it had its downsides and the negative sides. It killed the market totally. But I'm glad that even the social marketing institution in Nigeria with the best practice was also the one that turned around to open the space to the present situation that we have in Nigeria now. I want to welcome you to learn the history, how we went from private to government to donor and to a total market approach. It's an interesting one, and I wish you participate effectively to learn the lessons and be open for discussion. Thank you very much and welcome. Over.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for that lovely opening remarks, and even when the memory lane to give us some of the background. Thank you, sir. Next slide. So my name is Daniel Ndukwe. You would have seen it from the previous slide. So Nigeria has an estimated population of over 200 million people. We have a mixed epidemic that is concentrated among the key population, then of course lower in the general population, like you'd have seen. Of course, also higher in the females than in the males. Now we know condom have dual protection, both to prevent sexually transmitted diseases and to also prevent unintended pregnancy if used consistently and correctly. The figure there would have shown you how our journey with respect to the response. It peaked around the year 2001, when we had a prevalence of 5.8%, and it's been on steady decline. Currently, we have, based on our NICE data, about 1.4% of our population living with HIV/AIDS. Next slide. Now, this slide is to show us a summary of the MOT, mode of transmission study that was done in 2020. You will see that the general population, actually the MOT, it was classified as never married females and males, actually the largest contributors. But that is also a very huge population. If you look at never married, if you use the population of adolescent and young people as a proxy for that, it's like 1/3 of Nigeria population. So we're looking at if you divide 200 by 2, looking at close to 70, over 60 million people, okay, living, that's contributing to that's a huge population. So it's not just that number is contributing, but also further characterization to actually target intervention for them. And then the pediatric, mother-to-child transmission accounts for like 4 to 3%, while the key population themselves contribute to 8% of our new infections. Next slide. So condom programming in Nigeria, my director has given us some very good historical background. But condom was a key family planning option since the 80s. Played a lot of role when it came to family planning. But over time, it also became popular for prevention of sexually transmitted infections. Now, the Nigerian market has myriads of condoms, very different condom types, from some of the more affordable ones to more expensive ones, with all the perks and all that. The minimum prevention package in Nigeria was adopted to look in line with the UNAIDS, looking at combination prevention. So Nigeria has its own version of that combination prevention, and condom had a lot of role to play there. So there we're looking at the individual, looking at the society, looking at the family, also looking at biomedical interventions, looking at behavioral change intervention and structural interventions, okay, to deal with some extraneous factor to the individual that might influence how such an individual takes up prevention services, including, of course, taking condom. The National Prevention Plan also introduced the pillar for condom programming in the national response. So all along, condom has been also prioritized as one of our major tools for prevention of STI, including HIV. And of course, with the other role of, dealing with unintended pregnancies. The 2020 IBBS revealed that condom was high among the KP clients when they have sexual intercourse with their customers or their clients. But when it comes to regular sexual partners like boyfriends, we notice it is low. So, and there have been numerous demand creation, access, and utilization interventions to both place condom, promote its use. We've done some, and this have been done through some research, including market research, to look at how we can use various platforms to both do commercial, socially marketed, and even free condom distribution. And we also have very good platform where we quantify our total condom requirement as a country. And this was, we had the support of Society for Family Health in 2018 to do the quantification of what Nigeria will need in terms of condom, looking at both for preventing sexually transmitted infection and also for prevention of unintended pregnancies. And that was very key in trying to both define and redefine our condom programming. It also informed our segmentalization of the market, and then knowing how to address each specific segment with either the socially marketed, the commercial, and so on and so forth. Next slide. So these are some of the findings from that, that survey. You will see from the figure on the right that free condom as of then, please take note of some of these figures because in the subsequent slide, you see what the picture looks like presently and some of the changes that has occurred over time. The free condom then accounted for 3%, while the socially marketed condom took the large chunk, which is over 87%, followed by the commercially, propelled demand creation that accounted for close to 10% of our total market. Next slide. So now I'll be handing and calling Dr. David Olusegun Oyedeji, one of our champions from SFH, to now take it up from here. Thank you, and over.
Thank you, Dr. Ndukwe. So next slide, please. So following from that quantification survey that was done, the country now looked at and felt that there should be segmentation. And the approach to TMA was basically to empower the public and private players to coordinate and jointly meet the healthcare needs of general and key populations and leverage the strengths of each player. So each of the players in the TMA was basically to leverage the strengths to maximize reach and quality of services. And then the goal was to create a healthy market for condoms and lubricants, to increase informed demand for these commodities, and provide some technical assistance to optimize condoms and lubricant distribution across at national and subnational level, and sustain condoms programming by strengthening coordination among all key actors in the sector, the supply of condoms and lubricants, and support key operational research to improve market intelligence for condom and lubricants. If you look to your right, you'll see the condoms distributed. Yes, there was a progress for the commercial. However, in 2020, there was COVID-19. And COVID-19 meant that there was restriction of movements. And of course, people did not have access to enough money at that period. So that was a drop in the commercial and socially marketed condoms. The free one was still available, but very minimal there. Of course, just to note that at that period, there were a lot of GBV and cases of rape occurring because people were staying at home and they could not move out. Ordinarily, they would have been out of their homes, but because they were home, so many things happened there. So GBV, rape increased, and of course, there was a low condom use because they didn't have access to that. But up by 2021, it's shot up again. And by now, we've not done the research for 2022, I'm sure the figures will have been higher. Next slide, please. So we looked at what we actually need, our forecast, we forecasted a total. And if you look at that commercial segment, it was about the same figure that we distributed, only 22%. So that was a big gap for us as a country, considering the way we have been coming from since 1999. Yeah. So next slide, please. Next slide, please. So if you recollect that Dr. Ndukwe told you then that the social market, the commercial was very small, about 9.5%. So 10%, we're able to grow it to 70%. And basically, there are a lot of factors that accounted for it. A lot of research was done, and then about willingness to pay. People were prepared to pay a high amount for variants, which were not available in 2008. There are no variants of this condom. It was just one type of condom. However, as time went by, if the variants came up, we had ultra thin, we had studded, we had those impregnated with lidocaine to increase the period of the sexual acts. So some of things took place, and then of course, a lot of them, it's around 10%, while the socially marketed, as we moved away from that. As we go on, we'll have more reasons. I'll give you more reasons why this is so. The next slide, please. So what are the innovations and adjustments we've made as a country? Our priority in Nigeria is to grow the commercial segment of the TMA. We do know that the free one, is not sustainable. So we decided that as a country, we're going to grow the commercial segment of the total market approach. And of course, the use of the South Salient Network condom needs assessment tool was very helpful in determining the gap we had as a country, and also the mitigating measures we needed to take. And of course, that informed our action plan and how to move this forward. As a country, we had a development and deployment of the non-health sector HIV prevention tools. This was led by NACA, and the tool has been deployed to all states in the federation. And this tool we use to capture all non-health sector information, including condom and lubricants. And they have been very helpful to actually know our coverage and the depths. The monitoring and condom market intelligence. This takes place regularly. We need to know what's happening in the markets, what new condoms are available, and what type are they, what variants are they, and who is bringing these condoms. Are they registered with NAFDAC? Because condoms must be registered with NAFDAC and goes through some testing. So those are top things we did. We also developed a TMA dashboard in 2018. It's a public open web-based tool used to monitor the progress of TMA implementation. This dashboard has 3 intervention areas: the condom program stewardship, condom market development, and condom market management. So this is actually helps. So on the right there, you see the SSLN, our condom needs the PSAT that we use to determine and find out the gap we had as a country. The next slide, please. So we have some key considerations we have to make to ensure program success. As a country, there's an annual budgetary provision by the government for importation and distribution of free condoms. But we do know that these free condoms only account for about 10% of the TMA. But this is one thing that is very good for the country, that there's a budgetary provision for that, and the country actually ensure that this money is released and actually expended. The import duty waiver on condoms by the Ministry of Health with support of Ministry of Health, Ministry of Finance with the support of Ministry of Health has actually ensured steady supply of commercial condoms and also the socially marketed condoms. Then HIV prevention, especially condom lubricant, in addition to PrEP, beginning to play a significant role as we attain epidemic control. If you recall, if you just cast your mind back to presentation by Dr. Ndukwe, where our prevalence had actually dropped to 1.4%. And we are knowing that treatment is, we're already saying about saturating treatment. So what are we going to do? Prevention. Prevention is coming to the front border. And so condom and lubricants are beginning to be very important in our programming. And all donors are recognizing this fact. And this is becoming a very big movement towards ensuring that we attain epidemic control. Then there's a renewed interest by government and the donors to meet the GPC 2025 prevention roadmap on improving, which has actually certainly improved the TMA for condoms. So as we are, as a country, we are running and ensuring that we meet this the milestone sets for 2025, and that certainly require that our distribution and of condoms ensure that we get it to those who need them at the right time. Next slide, please. So we also ensure that to ensure the program success, we develop a standard operating procedure for the logistics management of condoms and lubricants. And this is what we use all over the country. We reviewed existing KP-specific condom communication and media materials so that condoms are given based on need and not based on what you have, but based on need and what they want. And we've done a lot of communication to say, what are the sexual encounters? And this informed what we are doing in the country. We have a national condom and lubricants quantification reports as part of our efforts to ensure that we achieve a lot of success on condom programming. We've developed a national condom and lubricants communication strategy. This to a very large extent and ensured that we actually deliver a consistent message across by all partners all over the country, national and subnational. So we are saying the same thing to them, telling them about consistent and correct use of condoms ensures that they prevent dual prevention from unintended pregnancy and STIs, including HIV. We have a national condom strategy operational plan, which is from 2021 to 2025, and it's still what we're using right now. And this has actually informed a lot of work among the implementing partners. The next slide, please. So these are the sources of condom market data that we used for this presentation, and shows you where each of them are in the segments of the TMA. I don't want to go through that, but at least you have an idea of where everyone is there. The next slide, please. So there are some key lessons from this. So we, as a country, we responded to the preference of beneficiaries. What do they want? In terms of pricing, in terms of new products, and of course, with the value for money focus. This has ensured that we increase commercial segment of the TMA. And then the willingness to pay by the upper segment. The upper segment wants variants. They want a condom. They want a pack of 1 or 2 condoms that they can use and then throw away. They don't need the others. Whereas the students and others want a condom that has about 4 or 5 units that they can use severally. So those are sort of things we've had to do. And if you look below, this one shows the different variants that we have. And we have it studied, we have ribbed, we have lidocaine treated. So basically, that's the stamina that ensures that you delayed, you have a much longer period, right? And then we have the flavored, we have the ultra thin. So these ones are actually increase the proportion of the commercial condoms. knowing fully well that our focus in Nigeria is to grow the commercial segments of the market. Next slide, please. However, despite all this success, there are some challenges. Currently, the high foreign exchange rates might stifle the growth of the commercial condoms, but that will not stop people from having sex. What are the things that the commercial segment are likely to do? They are likely to go into bundling of these condoms with recharge cards. So you get a pack of condoms and you are going to get a recharge card of about 200 or 500 naira. So that is an incentive to continue to purchase these commercial condoms, despite the high exchange rate. So they are becoming very innovative, and that's one of the things. Also, they are beginning to open up sites where you can actually talk to them, the private sector, talk to them around issues beyond HIV and AIDS. And other health issues can be discussed there. And of course, so these are add-ons to ensuring that we grow the commercial condom markets. Declining donor funding is also there. However, we as a country has also decided that, say, what can we do as a country? And government has been doing a lot. In every ministry development department of the Nigeria, they all have some funding for HIV. And we think that this is what will drive the TMA in Nigeria. Data collection from actors, some actors in the commercial sector is still a challenge. However, with the non-sector data collection tools, we hope that we'll be able to overcome that. And thanks to NACA for ensuring that this is being introduced to all partners in the country. Next slide, please. So in conclusion, we believe as a country that targeted distribution and demand creation is critical to grow the condom total markets, the total market approach for condom. And then improving coordination among the three major sectors of the market is critical to ensure an uninterrupted availability of condoms in Nigeria. And thirdly, to ensure availability of quality condoms and lubricants, there's need for strategic partnership. Dr. Ndukwe, when he started with the overview, the synopsis, he did tell you that there are several brands of condoms in Nigeria. Some of them are not registered with NAFDAC, and some are registered, are almost about to register. So this we ensure, we feel that if we have available condoms and lubricants in country, and then there's an regulatory environment, quality condoms will be available. Right now, we have Ministry of Health as a condom lab, where they actually test labs beyond the ones that are done before importation to the country. But this is one area that we think that will be very, very nice. I now hand over to Dr. Ndukwe to continue with this segment. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Dr. Olusegun, thank you very, very much. That was a very good presentation. So now, this brings us to our discussions and then question and answers. I remember we have, apart from Nigeria, the host, there are two countries, that's Cote d'Ivoire and Congo, that are on this call. So these three countries, Nigeria being the host. So I'm expecting questions from Congo, Cote d'Ivoire. Let them ask their questions. We'll take note of them. Please, if you have questions, just indicate by raise of hand, and then you'll be asked to give opportunity to ask the questions. Now, I also expect that the champions from Nigeria will also be on the standby for comments, for even responding to some of the questions. So I hope we're all listening, our champions, so that I will take note of some of these questions. You might make contributions, you might make comments, but I expect questions from Congo and Cote d'Ivoire. So one hand is up, Dr. Tahi, I hope I pronounce it well. You can unmute and ask a question. Dr. Tahi.
Alors bonjour à tous. Merci encore au Nigeria pour sa présentation. J'espère que vous m'entendez.
Yeah, very well.
D'accord. Je remercie encore le Nigeria pour sa présentation. Effectivement, c'est une présentation très, 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 très enrichissante. Je suis docteur Taï, Oumien Emmanuel du programme national de lutte contre le sida en Côte d'Ivoire, en Afrique de l'Ouest, champion préservatif. Donc, ma question, effectivement, j'ai vu les résultats qui nous ont été présentés. Ma première question est, quel était l'outil d'estimation de la quantification des préservatifs pour cette période qui nous a été présentée? Parce que c'est récemment que nous avons pris connaissance de l'outil CNET qui nous permet d'estimer les besoins en préservatifs et en gel lubrifiant aussi réalistes que possible. Donc, quel était l'outil qui avait été utilisé pour l'estimation des besoins? Deuxième chose, est-ce que on a vu quelques résultats de distribution, mais on n'a pas vu les résultats quant à l'utilisation, parce que dans la distribution, dans l'activité de promotion et de distribution des préservatifs, le challenge essentiel, c'est que les préservatifs soient aussi disponibles que utilisés. Nous avons vu que le Nigeria distribuait plus de 500 millions de préservatifs en unité. Et là, on voudrait savoir quel était l'impact de ces 500 millions sur les différentes populations en question. Donc, quel était le résultat en matière de taux d'utilisation du préservatif au cours du rapport sexuel à risque? Voilà. Et c'est dans les différents sous-groupes des populations, population générale, population clé, TS, HSH et même chez les adolescents jeunes. Donc, ce sont les deux préoccupations pour le moment que nous posons. Merci. À vous.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Tahi. The question was received. It appears no hand is up. Let me also check the charts because I want to take a set of questions and then we'll start responding. Maybe at least first 5 and then we'll respond. Any more questions? Yeah, I can see your name is written as Dale. Yeah, Dale, please go on, ask your question.
Merci, docteur. Moi, c'est Baudry du Congo-Brazzaville, champion préservatif. Je suis le point focal des questions de programmation du cycle des préservatifs et gel lubrifiant au niveau du pays. Alors, je tiens à féliciter d'abord les présentateurs qui ont fait une très brillante présentation en nous montrant l'efficacité ou encore ce qui était en train de se faire au niveau du Nigeria. Nous sommes très contents et c'est louable. Alors, ma question se penche plus au niveau des approvisionnements. Le Congo, mon pays, est approvisionné par 3 principaux bénéficiaires que je peux le dire en ce sens. Nous avons le 9PA qui travaille avec nous. Nous avons également le Fonds mondial qui travaille dans le côté des populations clés et des jeunes adolescents. Nous avons le PEPSA qui était un grand projet sous-régional qui travaille un peu dans le cadre de la prévention en Afrique centrale. Alors, nous avons toujours ce souci-là de la disponibilité des préservatifs, vu qu'aujourd'hui au Congo, nous attendons presque 40% de nouvelles infections. Donc, il nous faut la disponibilité des préservatifs. Et comme l'a dit docteur tout à l'heure, docteur Taï, il faut qu'on ait un outil qui retrace l'utilisation de ces préservatifs. Donc, comment nous pouvons faire chez nous, puisque nous sommes encore au début et nous tâtonnons un peu dans ce comité, qu'on ait un outil qui nous permettra de tracer, de suivre la disponibilité des préservatifs auprès de nos bénéficiaires et retracer également leur utilisation. Donc, je rejoins un peu d'une manière ou d'une autre la question du docteur Taï, mais j'ajoute pour nous, dans le cadre de la disponibilité, quel est ce bailleur au niveau que le Nigeria travaille, que nous également au pays, qu'on peut bénéficier de ces appuis ou peut-être de cet approvisionnement des préservatifs au niveau du Congo. Telle est la première intervention de mes questions. Je pense que peut-être plus loin, je pourrais encore reposer d'autres questions. Merci.
Thank you very much, Mr. Butri, for your questions. We've taken note of it. I don't know whether to delve into the answer or do we take 3 more? It's okay, there's something on the chat as well. Let me see. Okay, but that's I saw Lucy Maikweki. Lucy Maikweki, please. Let's have your questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Team Nigeria, for the very excellent presentation. I think I've seen something that I haven't seen achieved in most of the countries that I've been looking at their data, and that is bringing on board the private sector to have such a large market share. So my question is, between 2008, where the commercial sector was only at 10%, to 2021, where the commercial sector commands about 70% of the market, what did you do to encourage the private sector to invest in this sector? What specific activities did you segment the market so that the private sector or the commercial sector was able to understand that, yes, we can be able to serve this market, it is profitable, therefore we can bring commodities. I just wanted to understand exactly what happened between that period for you to turn around such spectacular results. Thank you.
All right, we've noted your question, Ma. 2 more questions before we go for the second round. Any other hand up, or do we just delve into the answers? I've been trying to see my chart here. I've been having some difficulty. Except Madonna, if you can read out, if there are questions on the chat you want to read out. I'm having difficulty navigating it on my system.
I think we have 2 questions on the chat.
Good.
There was the first one about the condom social marketing program. So Kalego is asking if you could explain that. And also, if the condoms are sold at events, what's the difference between the condoms sold at event and the commercial condoms? I think that should be it. Yes, that's the question we have in the chat. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So thank you. I think we've gotten 5. And we'll have a number of champions on the call. Yes, I want to talk to Shegun to go first, one of the presenters. So Shegun, the first question is from Dr. Taihi. He wants to know the tool we use for our quantification. How do we estimate what is the condom need for the country? And also what was the impact of our approach on different population? If I guess that might be impact now, be looking at maybe the reduction in new infections, in transmission of sexual transmitted disease, including HIV. And so please, can you take that, Dr. Shegun?
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you so much. So we have the UNH condoms estimate tool, the CNET, which is what we were actually trained as a country. We got consultants who trained us on CNET, and that's what we use in quantifying the needs, the estimates. So we use the UNH, the CNET. And also to let you know that if you look at our prevalence over time, it actually has dropped from where we were previously to the 1.5% we are now. yes, that's what we have as a country. However, like we said, it's a mixed, we do have a mixed, so we did say that amongst the key population, we still have some high figure for the prevalence. But and then of course we also combine that, not just using the NICE that we did. We also looked at the MOT, mode of HIV transmission study, which was like an incidence modeling to see where we are. And of course, we do know that we have done very well as a country based on that. However, we still have some gaps with our young people who are not married, the young men and women, and also the newborn. So that's an area which we have also identified. And that we can actually explain it from the fact that initially we focused more on treatment. So all our efforts were on treatment and we neglected prevention. But as we realized that as we're moving towards the saturation point, we now realize that, we need to backtrack and actually focus also on prevention. So that has actually helped us. So that's why you see, so by different population, general population generally has reduced except for the young people. And then for the key population, there's some progress except for the MSM. And for the MSM, the issue is basically around the fact that we criminalized that the same-sex marriage act that was implemented by the government, right, actually slowed a lot of things down. But thanks to NACA and governments and other government agencies who have ensured that we continue to program for the key population regardless of that law. So we continue to program for them for public health good. And that's basically why we have continued to make a lot of tremendous progress. Do you want me to take what has changed from the private sector? What we're going to encourage them, or I should let somebody do it?
Yes. Yeah, you can go. You can go take that.
Yeah. So if you look at what has happened,
what you're saying, how we track, because
so if you look at what had happened from 2008 to now, is that the first thing we did as a country to say the beneficiary preferences. What do people want? And this informed a lot of research work to say people want variety. People want value for money. So, and then we segmented it. The younger ones, what do they want? They want to have about 4 or 5 units of that condom that they can use severally. But the older ones who are working, particularly married men, who are in the higher socioeconomic indices, prefer to use 1 or 2 condoms because they can't take it home. So they just want to use one, and they want quality one, and the variant they can use and throw away. So those are some things that informed it. Also to know that when Dr. Ndupe started his presentation, he did say that there were many variants, many brands of condoms in market. And when we started in 2008, we had people who were involved in just what we call briefcase importation. So somebody travels for a conference somewhere, sees condoms available, buys the condoms to Nigeria, and within a short time, he or she has sold the condoms. So they're very excited. Oh, there's a market for it. So that are actually growing the market. And of course, the government environment providing that duty waiver actually helped too in ensuring that we were able to grow that. And of course, there was a deliberate effort too by government to bring in the private sector, because the government realized that the money they have so many competing needs for the government, for the money that was available. And so everything cannot go into condom and lubricant programming. And as such, they allowed the private sector to go in there. And by giving them by the duty waiver, that ensured that they can actually come in there to actually sell the condom. And there was a ready market for it. People are just there ready to do it. And of course, the government too helped, because there was also the demand creation for it. There was a lot of awareness around HIV and AIDS, telling them the benefits of using condom, and then what you stand to gain too. So all those factors actually helped. And also to let you know that condoms for private sector, government does not fix price. So they sell at the price that they feel they can actually break even. So there's no government intervention in that sector. And because there's no government intervention in that sector, that ensured that they can actually sell and make some profits, and they want to plow more money in that sector. And the condoms sold at events and condoms sold commercial, basically they might give some discounts at events and give some other promotional materials. Also to note that this commercial segment also had promotional materials. So they had shows, they had road shows, they had events.
We appear to be losing schedule.
So
Okay,
that's the thing. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Elishego, can you hear me?
Yeah,
you
I
are
can
off for some time, but I think you're back. Are you done?
I can hear you too.
Yeah, so I said yes. I've said over. Yes, I've already responded to
Hello.
a lot of them. Can you hear me? I can hear you.
I think he's the one that might have a problem.
I've responded to them.
Yes, I think I'm back now. I think I went off temporarily.
Oh, okay. So I responded to them. Thank you. Over.
All right. Thank you. So thank you for your intervention. This is quite a lot. But let me add by saying it might be difficult to measure the exact impact of that condom has contributed to both our dwindling prevalence and also reduction in incidence. But we do know that we do surveys, from time to time that shows, for example, one of the questions is what proportion of the people use condom in their last casual sexual encounters, okay? That's having sex with somebody that you are not cohabiting with. So such tells us how much people use condom and all that. And then if people are consistent with the use of condom, eventually it will also lead to reduction in the infection and what have you. And I love what Shegun said. He talked about deliberate effort. The government realized that if we are going to have a sustainable condom programming, we must really go out to strengthen the commercial aspect of leg of our program. So we deliberately went out to engage with them, open up the space, gave them some policy waivers, also creating demand, for people to use condom. And so I think, thank you very much, Shego, for that answer. But then there are questions, other questions. Somebody asked, which are the major donors or the donors of our condom? Adeleko, are you still on this call? Adeleko. Adeleko, if you're on the call, or mute yourself. I want our champions to have a say in our discussions. Okay, it's gone off. All right. So okay, fine. I will take that. So, but that is one question. We have. Okay, so Adeleko, I've told you are back. Adeleko, can you hear me? Yeah, are you sure you muted yourself? We don't seem to hear him, but if he comes on board. So there are two more questions. The donors, also what did you do to encourage private sector? I think Shegun has spoken to that. And then there are two other questions on the chat. Explain social marketing program, and then differentiation between condom sold at events and then the commercial market. I want to assume the sold at event should be the social marketed one, and possibly the free one, and then the commercial one. So anytime you are free, Adeleko, if you're on, just speak. If I hear, I will hand over the mic to you. But
okay, can you hear me now?
Okay, fine. Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah, so at the different levels, and I think Dr. Shegun has presented this, what are the free level, the commercial? We have different donors who are supporting condom distribution at those levels. For the free condom, we have majorly Global Fund, PEPFAR, UNFPA, GSI, AHF. SFH is significant player both at the free, at the commercial, and the private sector. And at the private sector, too, we also have other players like DKT and all those kind of things. So for each of the different segments in the total market approach, you have different people who work and major players within that sector. I think that is the question they were asking. Over.
Yeah, so fine. You've spoken to that. So for the social marketed condom, differentiating between it and the commercial ones. The commercial one are driven by the market forces. Socially marketed one are subsidized, okay? And then for us, for the key populations, we want to reach them as much as we can with free condom, okay, to make sure it's always available to them, because somebody did ask question of some of the difference between these ones. So are there more questions on the chat? Dr. Tahi, your hand is still up. You want to have another question, or is it your former hand? So
there's another question on the chat.
Okay, fine. Please, can you read it out? I'll hear it.
Abigail from Côte d'Ivoire is asking about data collection and condom resupply in the context of social marketing.
Okay.
He wants to understand, the collection of data, the process through which Nigeria collects data and resupplies within the scope of social marketing.
Okay, the data collection.
May I assist there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so for the socially marketed condoms, we are looking at condoms that are sold out, given out at cost recovery. So there's no profit there for the socially marketed. There's a cost recovery. Whatever the amount is, what's cost recovery. And we have the non-sector tool that captures all that. It actually captures data by different segments. So that tool tells you, okay, this condom that was supplied, was it free from government? So from government will be people from Global Fund, UNFPA, PEPFAR and all that who supply that. Was it free? So they give that, you get that information. And what was distributed from that? Then for the socially marketed, which was cost recovery, no profit on it. What was supplied? And of course, you also have these players there who are there, like PEPFAR and others who are in this segment. So based on the quantity that is supplied and then distributed, they resupply. So there's a system at the facility level called CRIF. So is a way of capturing what was supplied, what was given out. So it's a tool called CRIF that actually helps you at lower level. And then this is now aggregated to the subnational and national level for you to know what's happening. And also to know that we have the supply chain chain management, those companies, the PSM, who actually are involved there. So it's a whole complex network to ensure that we can actually track condoms that are distributed, used, condoms that are supplied, condoms that are distributed. We cannot actually say this was used or not used, because we actually don't get involved in the sexual acts. But we do know that once we distribute it, we assume that it has actually been used. And then we now know that, okay, we need to resupply because there's a minimum stock of 25%. When it gets there, we need to resupply to those implementing partners. And that's the system we use in the context of the social marketing. Thank you, over.
Thank you very much. So I asked the other time whether Dr. Tahi's hand is still up.
He has another question.
Okay, so Dr. Tahi, please, let's have your questions. Over. Dr. Tahi, can you unmute yourself and ask a question? I'm not hearing any questions. I don't know if anybody, Madonna, are you hearing any question from Dr. Tahi?
No, not at all. I think there should be some internet challenge on his end.
All right.
And he's back. He's back. So maybe you should try again. He's back now.
Okay. Okay. So Dr. Tahi, please, let's have your questions. About Dr. Tahi, I noticed you're not, okay, fine, you've unmuted yourself. Okay, please, ask your question, sir.
Ok, merci encore. C'est sur... D'accord. Et donc, je voulais savoir, puisque vous avez annoncé au niveau du marché total du préservatif une quantité énorme. Et ma question exacte, c'est de savoir quel est le taux d'utilisation du préservatif. Parce qu'au niveau mondial, dans le suivi des activités de prévention, quand une quantité de préservatif est distribuée, l'impact se mesure sur le taux d'utilisation du préservatif au cours des rapports sexuels à risque. Donc, vous m'avez, la réponse qui a été donnée porte après sur la prévalence VIH. C'est plutôt le taux d'utilisation du préservatif au cours des rapports sexuels à risque, qui est pour nous un indicateur en matière de performance. Parce que quand nous assurons la disponibilité de l'intrant, du préservatif, et que nous faisons une bonne promotion de cet intrant, comme vous l'avez présenté, cela doit pouvoir avoir comme impact sur comme impact, c'est le taux d'utilisation qui doit être élevé. Chez nous, en Côte d'Ivoire, par exemple, le taux d'utilisation sur les populations clés tourne autour de, sur les TS précisément, sur les travailleurs de sexe, tourne autour de 90%. Donc, au niveau de la population générale, ça demeure toujours en dessous de 50%. Donc, c'était pour voir un peu quelle est la stratégie que vous avez adoptée pour pouvoir accroître, si c'est le cas, votre taux d'utilisation de préservatifs. Une bonne quantité qui est distribuée. Donc, c'est ça ma première préoccupation. Ma seconde préoccupation, c'est la rétro-information. Comme ma collaboratrice Ivariane Abigail avait demandé, quelle était la stratégie pour la remontée des informations? En Côte d'Ivoire, par exemple, nous avons l'approche district qui nous permet de favoriser la collecte des données de la gratuité, et nous avons un GTT, un groupe technique de travail, qui permet de regrouper tous les acteurs en matière de préservatifs en Côte d'Ivoire pour la collecte des données, de sorte qu'on ait une exhaustivité des données. Donc, je voudrais savoir, première des choses, quel est le taux d'utilisation des préservatifs de nos jours, et secondairement, quelle est la remontée, les stratégies pour la rétro-information de la distribution des préservatifs par différents segments du marché. Merci pour votre disponibilité.
All right, thank you, Dr. Tahi. I will have the first go, and I will ask some of my champions to also contribute in response to your question. Now, I want to step back a bit by saying we have, like you know, both commercially, socially marketed, and then free condom distribution. For the key population that we target specifically and try to make condom as much as we can free to them to use, there are processes through which they are reached. For example, through their peers. Through their peers, we work, we get what is their need. Because in the quantification, we had done some study to show, for example, let me use sex worker, for instance, brothel based, non-brothel based, what is the number of clients they use, they provide services to in a day, and then they were able to quantify what the key population would have needed, having done key population size estimate across the various states of the Federation. So now, using their peer, we make condoms available to them. Now, so the assumption is if these condoms are given to them, then like Shegu mentioned earlier on, we are not there to know when they use it. So the assumption is that what is consumed or what they demand for is what they use, all right? And then that also correlates our estimate based on what we used to do quantification for them. Now, also for the socially marketed ones as well, they have various ways that condoms are distributed to them. But when it comes to the commercial data we get is from the vendors, from the outlets. We're able to know what came into the country. And then, like I mentioned, is based on people buying. They might not be obliged to record every individual that buys. So the assumption is that what leaves the outlets is what the population have used. And then you also ask what strategy is used to capture usage. So there are different programs have tools to get information from their peers, all right? But then Dr. Shegu did mention we have non-health sector tool for the which is looking at various population, whether it's key population, adolescent and young people and other population groups. And then the CBOs working in the community, the partners reaching them, actually record and feed into this non-health sector tool that comes up to the national level. It is based on the DHIS2 platform, and then we receive that and also
Dr. Ndukwe, is it me or your end?
Exactly. I think I went over. I think I'm back. Yeah. So I'm saying I want the champions to add more to what I've said to answer Dr. Tai's question, which are what is the rate of use of condom distributed, and also what is the strategy to capture the usage of condom. So who wants to go first? Sheg, you want to go? Is it a
yes, please, from my end, just to, in addition to what Dr. Ndukwe said, basically when the commercial segment, when they sell their condom and if somebody purchases, it's assumed that they will use it. We can't go and find out exactly, find out whether or not it's actually used. But they buy the condom, use their money. When people use their money to buy, they're likely to use, unlike when they get it free. So for that, the data for commercial segment and also that is the fact that you bought it with your money and you're going to use it. So we can, there's no way, like Dr. Ndukwe said, we can actually know whether they used those condoms. And also data collection, we did say that at the lower level, we have CRIF, which actually captures what they use and how they distributed it. And of course, they aggregate all that together and it fits into at national level, at subnational and national level, into the novel health sector, the tool they use for knowledge or health sector data collection. So that's the way we track that. I think with that, I think I'm able to answer your question. Over.
All right, thank you, Shegun. Anybody wants to add to that? If not, I will take Dell. So Dell is, I remember, it is Bitru, I think that's the name. Yeah, Butri, sorry, Butri. Butri hand is up again. Butri, can you ask a question?
Non, oui, docteur. En fait, c'était dans le même élan que vous avez répondu tout à l'heure là. En fait, vous avez lu dans mes pensées. Je voulais juste réagir dans ce sens, mais vous avez déjà donné la réponse à ça. Merci.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much. It appears to have no more questions. I can see some things typed in French. I don't know whether there are questions. I don't know if there are questions or comments.
What does CRIF mean? Combine.
Wow. All right, but that's a question.
Okay, so so thank you. There's a question on what is CRIF. CRIF is CRRIF. It's combined request and requisition form. So it comes with your consumption over the period 1 month, a quarter, and then you are asking for more based on what you have utilized. That's CRIF. Was I heard?
So if you have Patrick, so
Yes.
when you give that to, you go to a particular, whether it's CBO or a facility, and then you give him a stock. Say, for example, 100 condoms for And then after 1 or 2 months, they fill that form. So if you have 100 condoms and you've exhausted 80, it means I need to refill, give you additional 80 to make it up that initial 100. So that is also used, at that level. But that individual who is filling that CRIF is one that now has the responsibility of taking it to the end users, okay, depending on the population group you're working with. Over. All right, so the registration procedure, we did mention NAFDAC, which is the agency responsible for it's also a regulatory body for drug, for food, and such products. You have to pass through them. So what they do is they will look at your product. They want to subject it to some tests to know the quality. And then you pass through that process. And then if you type NAFDAC on your browser, NAFDAC Nigeria, NAFDAC, okay? Yes, which is the National Agency for Food, Drug Control and Administration. That's NAFDAC in Nigeria. So if you type in there, you will see, yeah, someone has typed NAFDAC. If you tap it, you can go to the website. So they have rules and guidelines for registration of various products. And so somebody will have to follow those procedures and then go through them before NAFDAC can give you a NAFDAC number for that product, which means your product is now to be consumed and used in Nigeria. So they also work closely with our Standard Organization of Nigeria that also look at the quality of your product, whether it meets the national standard.
Thank you, Dr.
And also,
Badri has his hand up.
Yeah, so it's similar to what they call FDA. I think America that calls it, US calls it FDA. So our own is called NAFDAC. Are there more questions? Del, is your hand up again, or is it the old one? Butri.
Oui, docteur Patrick. J'ai une question qui me traîne un peu en esprit. Je voulais savoir au Nigeria, quel est l'organe, je suis peut-être technique, hein, qui gère la gestion holistique des préservatifs à ce niveau? En entendant les interventions tout à l'heure, là, je pense, du docteur Segoun, les données du nouveau commercial.
All right. Okay. Yes, sorry. Please go ahead. I thought it's true.
Allô, vous êtes là?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Ok. Donc, je disais, après l'intervention du docteur Segoun, je voulais comprendre que au niveau du Nigeria, la gestion de données des préservatifs qui sont vendus au niveau des officines, hein, qui sont commercialisés, n'est pas peut-être, sauf erreur, n'est pas répertoriée directement dans la base. Sauf que ces informations-là se retrouvent au niveau de ces commerciales. Alors, je ne sais pas sur quel système vous avez pour capter toutes ces informations et alimenter votre base nationale. Je voulais savoir comment vous faites pour être en lien et avoir les données qui sont au niveau des officines, donc des pharmacies et autres, ceux qui vendent, qui commercialisent, hormis le marketing social, ceux qui commercialisent ces préservatifs vers vous, vers la donnée, vers la base nationale. Comment vous faites pour répertorier ces données? Je voulais un peu savoir pour que si c'est pertinent, nous aussi, on pouvait profiter, puisque c'est le même problème avec nous. Nous n'arrivons pas à capter ces données qui sont au niveau des officines, donc à la vente commerciale.
All right. Okay, fine. Is Mr. Butri done? All right, so fine. Thank you.
Oui.
All right. Unlike say the free condom and then the social marketed ones that are routinely collected and maybe routinely, maybe monthly, and then data validated quarterly. We'll say for the commercial one, we don't only engage outlets, we also engage the vendors, the dealers. All right. Now, so that vendor also has a way that he supplies to various outlets and also gets information through that structure. So beyond the dealer, we also engage outlets to be able to get that information. But I don't think it is reported like routinely, say every month. Like if you remember when Dr. Shegu was talking, he said we had done up to 2021. We usually do our condom dashboard. So we are also in the process of doing for the last year, which is 2022. So we go all out, look at the record of these individuals, and then they will tell us what was brought into the country and what their outlets have been able to give away. But I don't know, Shegu or Babatunde, if you want to add to that.
No, like we said, that at facility level, we use the CRIF, which Dr. Ikani has already told you about the meaning of CRIF. So at the facility level, we do that to actually capture the commodities supplied to the facility, to the implementing partner. So the implementing partner distributes to their own facilities. And of course, they capture this CRIF. This CRIF is what is collated and actually shows what was supplied, what was distributed, what was borrowed, what was damaged. So this CRIF captures everything around your commodity management. And this is what is collated with what we have at the supply chain management company, and of course fits into the nationally to the non-health sector data collection tool. So it's a system that starts lower down, and then it comes up there. You harmonize it as you go up, and then you get it. So we can actually track everything that we supply. And also note that in the course of the implementation, there are some states, sub-national level, that have more commodities or condoms and lubricants than what they need. So they need to transfer to other states. So they use this CRIF, this document, to actually transfer to the other states. And this is all captured as part of their loss, and then there's an adjustment to it. So those is a very simple system. Might just appear complex as I'm explaining, but it's very simple. It's just showing what was supplied to you, what you used, what you transferred to another partner or another state, and then what is left. So, and then what expired, it captures all that. So it's a very simple tool that we use. And of course, all of us feed into the national health sector tool, the management system that is there, that's managed by NACA. Thank you, over.
I don't know whether it's from my own end. I lost Shegu for some time. Can you hear me? Oh my.
Yeah, okay. I can hear you.
Okay.
Oui, je suis en train de vous comprendre. Je suis en train de vous comprendre, docteur Segoun. Je suis en train de vous comprendre. C'est très pertinent. Et puis, je comprends que c'est un outil, pour moi, c'est nouveau. Je n'ai jamais vu ça. Mais bon, je souhaiterais que si il y a un appui technique à ce point pour les pays qui veulent expérimenter cet outil ou bien cette base, que ça soit disponible, quoi, qu'on essaie de voir comment on peut l'adapter avec nous. Voilà un peu mon souhait sur cette question.
Yes, so certainly I will pass this to Dr.
Hi, Shegu.
Oh, go ahead.
All right. So if you heard, Shegu was saying, yeah.
Did you hear me, Doctor? Did you hear me? I said
Yes.
that
Go ahead.
it will pass to Dr. Ndukwe. So we will get it across to your country. You'll get a tool. Yeah. The simple tool will get across to you. And we can provide TA on filling the tool. So no problem.
Yeah, so I'm happy you added that last bit. We'll share also, we'll be willing to walk you through it and give you more details. But that's not to say that our commercial data is 100%, but we're making a lot of good progress. Remember one of the slides, Dr. Shoku presented that it might be of a challenge, but we've not gotten it quite up to what we do for social market and then free condom distribution. But these are some of the strategies we have, and then we get our data. I think it's now time to go to the last segment of this. We want to know what countries are doing, want to have your comments, want to have what you have learned. I'm sure some of the countries also have something they think they want the rest of the countries to, the champions from the different countries to learn and speak to. So it's open. So maybe if Madonna can put up the slide again to show the link, the last portion of the slide we're dealing with now, so that partners will understand.
Well, is your key takeaways. So do we want to go by any structure, Congo, then go to Cote d'Ivoire, or we open it up? You can just go ahead, raise your hand and ask your question. My name is Patrick. Over.
Excusez-moi, docteur, je n'ai pas compris la question.
Okay. All right, thank you. So this session is takeaway sessions. Are there things we have learned? Are there things we're happy about that we've learned from the Nigerian example? And then what did we can hype some of the things that we say, like the last speaker said, this is the first time he has heard about tools. He wants technical assistance. So we want to hear from you, like feedback time, and what you are taking away and what you'll be doing. What you'll be doing with the lessons from Nigeria. Was I heard? Hello? Is that clearer?
Yes, at least we have one already about the tool, that they need a tool from us. CRIF, they need a CRIF and
Yes.
the TA. That's the first takeaway, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
well,
Congo,
while we are waiting for Congo and Cote d'Ivoire, our colleagues there to give us a feedback on what they think about this link and learn, I have just a little question that was bothering me. I was just trying to look at how we work with NACA. How do we really work with NACA to ensure, NACA and NAFDAC, how is that relationship that ensures that the quality of condoms in the country is ensured? I thought we could just elaborate on that while we wait for Congo and Cote d'Ivoire to give us their feedback. Thanks a lot.
All right.
All right. So it's not only NACA and NAFDAC, even the Federal Ministry of Health, especially the Department of Family Health, we are all involved to ensure the quality. So, for example, we've observed that there are some condoms in the market that has not had NAFDAC registration. So what we do, I will continue to do, is to bring some of that to the attention of NAFDAC, to ask them, and also encourage them to keep doing their market survey to identify certain products and be sure they meet the standard. And like I mentioned earlier on, we also, by we now mean NAFDAC, more or less than NACA, also work with the Standard Organization of Nigeria to subject some of these products, all right, to certain tests to be sure they still meet the standard of the country. So it's a whole thing. NACA's role is to coordinate. So we bring some of this into the attention of the people who have the mandate to run with them. And we do that, we'll continue to do that. NAFDAC is involved in a lot of our platforms meeting, including our prevention technical working group meeting, the national prevention meeting. They come, they collaborate, they listen to our discussions. They're also a member of the Condom subcommittee of the MPTWG. So we have some standing relationship with them. And then we use some of those channels to highlight and ventilate some of these concerns so that we can run with them as a country and as a people. But I can also see a hand is still up. So I'll hand over to Patrick. Patrick is anchoring this. I can see two hands off. Adele and Taji, maybe they want to make some. Over to you.
Okay, so Tom, I think that is clear. I'm sure countries have heard from Dr. Ndukwe. NACA, as part of their coordination, have meaningful engagement with MDAs, and these MDAs, that's ministries, departments, and agencies. And NACA and all of them, I mean, NAFDAC, SON, Department of Family Health, they're all part of this. And so they're fully aware in development of those strategies for condoms and lubricants. They're also a functional member. So I think that that is how, because they are meaningfully engaged, they are always aware of this new, once you get a lot of new condoms, they take it up to validate them. Thank you. So we go to Butri before Dr. Tahir. You have the floor. Hi, Butri.
Oui, merci, docteur, pour cette parole accordée. En fait, ce qui est été retenu durant toutes ces présentations, malheureusement, je suis venu un peu en retard puisque j'ai eu un problème de connexion. Mais ce que je retiens, c'est que les expériences de l'Algérie et des Nigeria plutôt, excusez-moi, est très louable, vu que les pays dont nous avons la charge d'être au niveau du comité national qui gère toute la problématique du préservatif, nous avons besoin de ces outils, nous avons besoin de ces informations pour essayer de nous améliorer et adapter également, voir comment l'adapter avec nos lignes directrices au niveau du comité de coordination. Alors, les outils qui ont été présentés succinctement lors de cette présentation, ce sont des outils qui sont tellement importants pour nous également. Et ensuite, nous voulons, vous avez au moins la chance d'avoir ces grands bailleurs avec vous, ces très gros bailleurs qui sont là pour vous approvisionner, pour vous travailler dans le cadre d'approvisionnement des préservatifs, dont le PEPFAR qui a un très grand pourcentage en termes d'appui financier ou d'acquisition, qui est contrairement à nous. Le Congo bénéficie de ces appuis dans les préservatifs du cadre du marketing social avec le projet PEPSAC, mais dans la quantité est plus dans la vente, la plus grande quantité dans la vente. Donc, la distribution gratuite sur ce projet est quasiment nulle, peut-être 1%. Alors, de l'autre côté, c'est le Fonds mondial, mais qui a limité ses cibles pour l'approvisionnement des préservatifs, qui regarde juste du côté des populations clés, notamment des jeunes adolescents qui sont vulnérables. Et de l'autre côté encore, nous avons l'approvisionnement à travers l'UNFPA qui nous donne une quantité qui ne couvre pas le niveau national, qui regarde la contraception donc au niveau des jeunes adolescents et puis les femmes en âge de procréer. Donc, du coup, nous avons des déficits, des gaps, des très grands gaps en matière d'approvisionnement des préservatifs. Donc, vos pistes de solutions, vos pistes d'appui à travers d'autres bailleurs, nous sera vraiment les bienvenus. Et ce que je retiens encore à nouveau, le captage d'informations, ça c'est pour nous, ça sera peut-être nouveau, puisqu'on est limité, nous nous basons plus au niveau du système de santé, donc les centres de formation sanitaire des départements, dont nous livrons, nous donnons les préservatifs gratuitement. Et au niveau du marketing social qui est chez nous, là également, nous avons un programme d'information qui ne nous parvient pas. Surtout, il faut peut-être mettre la chaleur pour qu'on revienne. Si on avait un système national qui gérait tout ça, ça pouvait être facile. Voilà un peu ce que je retiens à ces LENIC qui est très important pour nous, qui nous donne beaucoup d'informations, beaucoup des expériences à partager avec Ria. Merci un peu, voilà un peu mon intervention à ce point.
Thank you so much for the feedback. I'm sure Shegu and the rest. I think the precursor, the beginning of your population, yes, is like 90-something%, 90-something million people. Is that correct? So if you apply, if you try what Nigeria has tried, I'm sure you get very credible results. Nigeria had, in the presentation made by Shegu, they had a willingness to pay study, which will also help you in your segmentation approach to really understand, since you said your social marketing is there. You have the same picture as Nigeria. Your donors are similar to Nigeria, PEFA, Global Fund, and also you have some commercial players and all of that. So I think what you have taken away from here will help you to structure, maybe get you a better results in future by applying, bringing in tools which Nigeria is willing to provide technical assistance, and then also maybe take some kind of studies like willingness to pay, which SFA Share and NACA are willing to also provide certain TAs in that area. Thank you for picking some of the salient study lessons from Nigeria, and I think SSLM will be the bridge in ensuring that we can take up some of this conversation further. So I think I want to go to Dr. Tahi now. Over to you, Dr. Tahi.
OK. Je voudrais dire merci déjà pour cette brillante présentation. L'élément important que nous retenons de cette présentation, c'est l'inversion des tendances. C'est-à-dire que le marché total des préservatifs était au départ dominé par la gratuité, le préservatif gratuit. Et donc, au fur et à mesure de l'évolution, des stratégies ont été développées pour l'inversion des tendances au point où le secteur commercial occupe près de 90% avec celui du marketing social. Donc, du coup, ça nous montre qu'au niveau de la Côte d'Ivoire, nous avons du chemin encore à faire. Parce que là, actuellement, à l'état actuel des choses, nous sommes à 46% pour la gratuité. Et voilà, donc la gratuité représente actuellement 46%. Et le marketing social et le secteur privé représentent les 54%. Donc, du coup, il y a encore du chemin à faire pour l'inversion des tendances. Mais déjà, ce qui est fait en Côte d'Ivoire, c'est qu'en 2019, nous avons réalisé une analyse situationnelle du marché total de préservatifs qui nous a permis d'identifier les 3 segments du marché qui sont la gratuité, le marketing social et le secteur privé. Donc, on s'est rendu compte que effectivement, le marketing social et le secteur privé, dans le circuit de distribution, ont leur réseau de distributeurs, d'accord, qui couvre un peu la place du marché. Et nous avons aussi, pour la gratuité aussi suit un autre circuit de distribution. Donc, tout est assez stratifié. Donc, on sait de sorte que les produits de la gratuité ne viennent pas inonder le secteur marketing social et le secteur privé. En matière de rétro-information, donc nous prenons les données issues des grossistes qui distribue les préservatifs du marketing social et du secteur privé, du secteur commercial. Et pour le secteur de la gratuité, nous avons le e-sigle, qui est l'outil de rapport de logistique de gestion des produits de la gratuité. Donc, toutes ces informations-là sont contenues dans cet outil et ça nous permet d'avoir les informations en temps réel. Ensuite, nous avons mis en place depuis 2020, à la suite de l'analyse situationnelle sur le marché total, nous avons mis en place un groupe technique et nous tenons des réunions trimestrielles chaque 3 mois. Nous tenons des réunions pour faire le suivi de la distribution des préservatifs au niveau national dans le cadre de l'approche du marché total. Donc, fort de ces interventions, nous retenons aussi cet enseignement riche qui nous donne des idées pour l'inversion des tendances, comme je le disais tantôt. La gratuité, on est encore à 46% comparativement à celui du Nigeria où ils sont à 10% du marché total. Donc, des efforts seront faits pour pouvoir inverser les tendances. Mais en plus de ce que le Nigeria fait, nous aussi, à notre niveau, nous avons mis en place ce qu'on a appelé des villes sentinelles de la distribution. Donc, nous avons identifié, nous réalisons de façon périodique des études sur l'utilisation du préservatif au travers d'un questionnement des différents types de populations. Et donc, à l'issue de ces études-là, nous avons identifié des villes où le taux d'utilisation du préservatif était faible. Donc, dans ces villes-là, nous les avons sélectionnées au nombre de 30, dans lesquelles nous surveillons la distribution des préservatifs et dans lesquelles nous évaluons le taux d'utilisation du préservatif. Donc, bien sûr, par différents types de populations. Donc, c'est un tout petit peu de façon ramassée, ce que nous faisons en Côte d'Ivoire. Et nous remercions encore le Nigeria pour sa brillante présentation et nous espérons avoir les ressources nécessaires pour leur emboîter le pas. Donc, si je prends fin mes propos concernant l'État du Côte d'Ivoire. Merci à vous.
Yeah, sorry. So are you done, Dr. Tahi?
Oui, c'est bon pour moi, j'ai fini. Merci.
All right, thank you so much for the feedback. Good. We also would like to hear your studies from the distribution centers on how you are studying the use of condoms across different channels. I think that would also be nice to see what plays out. That's also novel. So thank you. And yeah, you talked about the tools, and thanks for appreciating Nigeria for sharing this experience. Are there anything again before I move back to Dr. Ondukwe? These are the two countries. Is there anybody on your team who really wants to share anything specific? All right, so I will take
Dr. Patrick,
Hi.
Badri has his hand up, and Lucy, Condom pillar lead, also has her hand up.
Oh, great. So let me start with Butri, then I'll end with Lucy. Lucy will take your own after that. Thank you. All right, go ahead, Butri.
Merci, docteur. En fait, je voulais revenir un peu sur cette question. Je suis désolé pour prendre encore la parole. Parce que j'ai juste parlé un peu de ce qui est du côté du Nigeria, mais le Congo également a fait des efforts. Je rejoins le docteur Taï qui a parlé également de la Côte d'Ivoire. Effectivement, le Congo a cette expérience dans le cadre du marketing social à travers toujours nos partenaires qui nous accompagnent, qui sont au niveau communautaire, notamment l'ACBF, qui est une association du bien-être social et qui accompagne le pays en ce sens de la distribution et la vente des préservatifs. Mais comme je l'ai dit tantôt dans notre jeu, la distribution à ce niveau est tellement faible jusqu'à 1%, parce que je reçois des préservatifs venant du PPF et puis de l'OCEAC. Mais la couverture en termes de la disponibilité des préservatifs gratuits, la distribution gratuite des préservatifs est très faible. Alors, nous avons mis en place un comité de coordination et de la programmation holistique des préservatifs et gels lubrifiants au niveau du pays, qui est géré par le CNLS2, l'organe technique de la coordination nationale du VIH et d'autres épidémies. Ensuite, nous avons également la CAMEPS, qui est notre centrale d'achat, d'approvisionnement en matière de produits de santé, qui nous aide à la distribution de ces préservatifs jusqu'à kilomètre zéro, donc au fond des pays, plutôt à des localités très lointaines, qui nous accompagnent dans ce sens pour que la population ait en tout temps en disponibilité des préservatifs en cas d'utilisation, aux besoins d'utilisation plutôt. Donc, là, c'est la CAMEPS qui est là, qui nous aide à acheminer tous ces quantités de préservatifs. Et en plus, ce comité s'organise d'une manière trimestrielle. Quand nous recevons des rapports des entités dont nous distribuons des préservatifs, avec des rapports de mise en œuvre, la mise en œuvre des activités. Mais comme je l'ai dit, ce qui nous échappe, c'est le captage d'informations jusqu'à l'utilisation. Ça, il faut qu'il y ait une étude. Malheureusement, nous n'avons pas un appui technique où le pays n'a pas moyen pour organiser cette étude, que comme pour nous, c'est beaucoup d'argent. Donc, du coup, on n'a pas eu à manifester après cette étude, durant peut-être ça fait déjà 10 ans. Et on regardait pas avec du côté de nos partenaires, malheureusement, qu'il y ait des promesses jusqu'aujourd'hui, rien. Mais on les sollicitait également quand j'étais en Afrique du Sud, lors de l'atelier de la prévention globale du VIH qui s'est tenu tout dernièrement avec le CCLR. Si on pouvait avoir des appuis techniques en ce sens, ça sera louable pour nous. Voilà, je voulais compléter un peu ce que le pays, mon pays, le Congo, fait en matière de la gestion holistique des préservatifs pour besoin de la population générale et la population clé notamment. Merci.
All right, thank you very much, Utri. That was good. And for us, I think it's good. You have committees, you have monitoring usage and all of that. I think the experience from Nigeria, as presented by Chegun and Ondukwe, highlights the intentional needs of Nigeria, putting up a subcommittee under the National Prevention Technical Working Group as the Condom and Lubricant Subcommittee, because all the players come to that meeting. So it's easier for them to talk about condom programming. It's easier to look at also the consumptions and all of that. So if you have it as a subcommittee, if you have such forum or you want to be such forum, I think the experience will also come from Nigeria. Thank you. So I'll go to Lucy. Lucy, thank you. We got your reviews and it's good to hear from you on this call.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Patrick. I think mine was just to commend Nigeria and just a few quick nuggets that I've picked up that have contributed to the success of the program in Nigeria that maybe the Republic of Congo and Cote d'Ivoire can borrow is how can we work with the governments to make tax concessions the way Nigeria has, because that's one of the areas that I think is very pertinent in order to bring condoms that are priced within consumer-friendly, within consumer reach. The other thing I really liked was the fact that at the beginning you did some user-centered assessments to understand what exactly the users need. And that, I think, is what you used to bring on board the private sector so that they could address the need for variety, value for money, also the different, in terms of packaging, the number of quantities in each pack. I think I wanted to just highlight those things as some of the factors I note as contributing to the success of your program. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lucy. We didn't want to give the expo to these countries. We wanted them to look around. I think but this further highlights some of the things like that, and I critically talked about that in terms of our willingness, which also brought about segmentations and also preferences. So I think this Congo and Cote d'Ivoire, Lucy has given you the final vibes on what your takeaways should be. So I'll move the mic back to Dr. Ondukwe, who will take us towards the end of this presentation. Thank you.
Excusez-moi, je voulais préciser, ce n'est pas la RDC, c'est le Congo-Brazzaville. Merci.
Okay. Thank you very much. I really want to appreciate every one of us. SSLM, a lot of thanks go to you for giving us this wonderful platform for us to learn from one another. You've done a lot of good work. We are so grateful. I want to thank Congo Brazzaville. I also want to thank Cote d'Ivoire. From your questions and your comments, it really showed you engage very much with our call. We are happy when questions come, comments come. I find some of your questions is also helping us to further improve our work back home. I thank everyone on the call. I also want to thank my director that's been part of the call that opened the session. All the presenters, thank you very much. Our champions in Nigeria, you are very instrumental to making this call a success. I want to appreciate every one of you. And my team in Accra, thank you very, very, very much. Now, you can look at your screen. You will see link and learn on total market approach. So this will be shared with every one of us. We will want you to please respond to this survey. It has us, both us as a country, yourself, and even SSLN to further make to keep improving on our link and learn sessions. Please, we want you to respond to. There are just very few. I think 5 questions. Am I right, Madonna? Just very short survey.
Yes, you are. Just 5 brief questions.
Yeah, so 5 brief questions. You can even do it immediately. We'll be happy. Yeah, we can do it now. Just for you to take responses, and that's all, and it'll be done. So looking forward to receiving your responses and